喂，聽唔聽到我講嘢？喂，Hello。Hello， Hello， Hello，
I think we should explore a few solutions.
Grammarly suggestions.
你说可能太晚了，天天开工，按时按钟，就当放假了，所以我不愿偷偷把你时针都占了。还记得你说过
I think we should explore a few solutions.
Grammarly suggestions.
你说痛，当你不再的一个人，在天空，让心情会凝成过色的人，想用残口只为了在以后，能不能帮我听听他的心里话？别再这样把别人伤口放大，能不能帮我看看他的心情？
Grammarly suggestions.
我问雨后太阳了，你说可能太忙了，天天开工，按时按钟，就当放假了，所以我不愿偷偷把你时针都占了。还记得你说过的都是假的，我分不清错，让天空突然断了层，刮起了风。当你不再等一个人在雨中，却突然想起为你承
觉你的皱纹有了岁月的痕迹，直到肯定你是真的，直到失去力气，为了你我愿意，动也不能动，也要看着你，直到感觉你的发线有了白雪的痕迹，直到视线变模糊，直到不能呼吸，让我们形影不离。如果全世界我也可以放弃，至少还有你值得我去珍惜，而你在这里就是生命的奇迹。也许全世界我也可以忘记，就是不愿意失去你的消息，你掌心的痣，我能记得在哪里。我怕来不及，我要抱着你，直到看着你的发线有了白雪的痕迹，直到视线变得模糊，直到不能呼吸，让我们形影不离。如果全世界我也可以放弃，至少还有你值得我去珍惜，而你在这里就是生命的奇迹。也许全世界我也可以忘记，就是不愿意失去你的消息，你掌心的痣，我总记得在哪里。我们好不容易，我们宣布勇气。我怕时间太快，不够将你看仔细。我怕时间太慢，只也担心失去你，恨不得一念之间摆脱，永不分离。如果全世界我也可以放弃，至少还有你值得我去珍惜，而你在这里，这是生命的奇迹。也许全世界我也可以忘记，就是不愿意失去你的消息，你掌心的痣，我总记得在哪里。在哪里？
My God！
在哪里？
哇，
别说永远，永远会让人更想念，就像再见，从不会再见。越悲伤就越深刻， 这就是爱情的规则。学会承受不代表学会放手。
有人啊，
就像舍得从来
哎
不是，
这个观众你是说普通话的吗？
爱不用选择，更无需假设。我说深深爱过才会懂得，你不属于我，属于我的脆弱。我们只剩今天，怎么奢求一个？如果你发现我没参考的那些坚强理由，我会练习有话直说。你不属于我，属于我的贵重，我是真的愿意消失在你身后。如果你发现我眼泪不停流，却紧紧守候，我想我会坦白我离开的理由。
哇，睇嚟今日個市都唔係幾掂啊！
北極星就喺呢度，仲有 Big Dipper 同 Small Dipper，好靚啊！
親身見到係咪好唔同呢？行多啲睇多啲，每個地方都有佢值得學習嘅嘢。
不過睇目前嚟講咧，估佢係啱嘅啦。
地球人2號，
地球
空它的比較沒錯，即係這個情況下
同 CityGo Private Client， 佢就好似我嘅衛星導航。City 環球理財擁有全球逾400位財策分析師，覆蓋70個地區，助你重新出發，掌握世界視野。用埋 mobile app 仲可以即時免費環球匯款，保障方面亦可以跟你嘅需要轉換保單貨幣，有多種貨幣俾你揀，就算世界不同角落都可以覆蓋。Hello City， 我有個朋友仔女準備出國，你哋有咩 winning service 可以 offer？
黎生 ，City 嘅 Global Network 係我哋嘅強項之一，無論海外投資、按揭、保障 ，City 都可以提供一站式專業服務。講到升學，我哋同合作咗6年嘅 City Wharton Global Wealth Institute 聯手設計咗一系列嘅 online course， 可以俾仔女提早接觸頂尖學府，擴闊眼界，感受世界。小朋友到埗後，家長可以用 Citibank Global Wallet 直接從香港嘅外幣戶口，隨時幫小朋友交學費同雜費，仲冇手續費添。
眼前嘅路可能係未知數，不過我哋可以準備充足啲，咁無論目的地喺邊，自己同下一代都可以行得更順、更平穩。隻兔仔由月球嚟咗啦！
唔係啊，我哋上咗月球啦 ，call 嚟月球人。
收到月球人。Mission accomplished。有啲銀行有好多產品，但係唔了解你嘅需要；有啲銀行或者知你要乜，不過冇啱嘅產品。無論你係 CityGo Private Client 定係 CityGo 客戶。City 環球理財夥伴都能夠提供更高層次嘅財策管理，幫你穩中求富，為財富增值。City 財富管理更懂你心，更多選擇，更高嘅等嘅財策管理，你仲要揀 That's what to grow。
City 財富管理為你籌劃更全面嘅投資、按揭及保障方案，成功晉身 CityGo 可享高達38,000蚊現金回贈，晉身 CityGo Private Client 可享高達68,000蚊現金回贈。借定唔借，還得到先好借。
每日都有唔同嘅挑戰，所以每餐我都有唔同嘅需要。灣仔碼頭推出3款健康系列，包括雞肉、植物肉同素菜系列。而家仲有全新齊菜馬蹄木耳素雲吞，夠 fresh 又夠多選擇。 健康滋味隨你所想。
学会承受不代表学会放开手，就像舍得从来不舍得，爱不用选择，更无需假设，我说深深爱过才会懂得，你不属于我，属于我的脆弱，我们只剩今天，怎么奢求以后？如果你发现我没参考的那些坚强理由，我会练习有话直说。你不属于我，属于我的贵重，我是真的愿意消失在你身后。如果你发现我眼泪不停流，却紧紧守候，相信我有我的理由，不该让你一个人承受。如果没有我，你是否还能坚强度过？我发誓对你永不离不弃，不弃不离，陪你到爱情尽头。你不属于我，属于我的懦弱，我是真的爱过，就该舍得放手。如果你发现我没把我很相信的拖着走，我会试着自己难过。你不属于我，属于我的贵重，我是真的愿意消失在你身后。如果你发现我眼泪不停流，却紧紧守候，我一定会对你坦白我爱你的理由。
有啊，哎，在忙，我刚刚在操作一些东西。哎，潘志刚，我认不出你啊。你网名叫什么呢？
剩下看不见雪景，太阳等不到星星，我在街角等着你，就花光了勇气。候鸟向南方前行，背过披上了白云，生动的美好环境，却没有你的踪迹。怕我归期，怕空欢喜，怕来的不是你，怕没有奇迹。等风吹起，等雨过气后，等你与我的下次相遇。怕我归期，怕会偶遇， 结局，等风吹起，等雨过季后再相遇。剩下看不见雪景，太阳等不到星星，我在街角等着你，就花光了勇气。候鸟向南方迁徙，背过披上了白衣，生动的美好光景，却没有你的踪迹。把我归集，把空欢喜，怕来的不是你，怕没有奇迹。等风吹起，等雨过季后，等你与我的下次相遇。怕我归集，怕会犹豫，怕来的不是你，怕没有结局。等风吹起，等雨过季后再相遇。
贪心一点呢，就是刚刚就应该走了一转，然后现在再重新进入，下一次沽空会比较赚多一点，不过难操作刚刚。不过另外一个问题就是操作过多也容易错过机会了。
电话怎么没响过？我削了一个苹果，只放着没咬过。明明看见你来问我，却怎么没发生过？门没锁，进来坐，连蚂蚁也不放过。天都黑了，你都没来过，没来坐，戏都完了，眼都没眨过，没哭过。完美的剧情错过，相信戏份太多，太脆弱，连哼一声都伤我。天都黑了，谁都没来过，没来坐，衣都挑了，鞋都没脏过，没走过。想要的戏也买错，爱的人不爱我，太难过，我还能浪费多少个结果？我削了一个苹果，只放着没咬过。明明看见你来问我，却怎么没发生过？门没锁，进来坐，连蚂蚁也不放过。天都黑了，你都没来过，没来坐，戏都完了，眼都没眨过，没哭过。完美的剧情错过，相信戏份太多，太脆弱，连哼一声都伤我。天都黑了，谁都没来过，没来坐，衣
All right, welcome everyone to South by Southwest at Blockspace, presented by Tezos. We are joined today by Leaston Bryant, and we have Sebastian from the Sandbox here as well. We are here to talk about the future of the gamer experience, the future of the metaverse experience, and how all that ties together into not only our digitally native worlds, but also how are brands taking advantage of that, and how is culture moving into the metaverse overall. We'll touch on a number of really, really interesting and important topics. Both our panelists today are working on a number of really cool initiatives that are really leading the pack in their categories. And before we dive into those aspects, I'll actually give both panelists a chance to introduce themselves. And Lisa, I'll let you start.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So my name's Leaston Bryant, manager for esports and gaming at McLaren Racing. That means I look after our esports team. I look after a esports racing tournament that we run, some content creators, and all of our gaming initiatives, really. I think for us, when we think about esports and gaming at McLaren, it's about creating the next generation of fans and also being the number one sort of F1 team in terms of innovation. So yeah, working on lots of different projects across Web3, the metaverse, NFTs, esports, working with publishers, a very exciting role, and excited to talk a little bit more about that today.
Thank you. Sebastian?
Yes, hey everyone, my name is Sébastien Bourget. I'm the CEO and co-founder at The Sandbox, as well as the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance. The Sandbox, it's a gaming virtual world where users and creators can truly own and monetize their 3D asset, their experience, their identity through the use of blockchain and NFTs. We are building this open metaverse where anyone can play with these NFTs and involving major brands. More than 200 major brands already are part of our Sandbox, and a lot of user-generated content. Excited to be speaking today here on this panel with you and access those questions.
All right. And Leaston, you actually said something interesting kind of in your intro right there. You mentioned like the future of fandom, and I'm actually going to throw this question to Sebastian. You know, the future of fandom for brands that you have conversations with about how to enter the metaverse, especially in the context of the Sandbox, what do they want to accomplish? Why are they coming to you?
I think, well, definitely Web3 is community driven. It's user centric. So that's a major paradigm shift with what we've seen before in Web 1.0, Web 2.0. The fact that communities can gather around the artists, the creators, the brands, the influencers that they love. They can have direct access to them, to more exclusive, immersive, social, rich, fun, entertaining experiences in various spaces that could be as simple as like chat on Discord room, or more advanced into 3D virtual worlds such as Sandbox is really powerful. And the fact that they can accomplish that through the ownership of digital assets, NFTs, content that they can both use as, I don't know, collectible, art, wearable, avatars, or even game items, having multiple utility that they can transfer to other users, they can sell, they can use across multiple dApps, is really opening a lot of possibilities behind in the form of like expression, in the form of kind of interaction, and what users, fans, and the brands they connect to can achieve. I think that they are less and less, they are not really possible in the physical world for many reasons, because like of the geographical disparity, because like we've been accustomed to thinking in a more transactional manner, actually in Web 2.0 and the commerce web, and that the metaverse and the NFTs have been really demonstrating already a lot of great value for fans.
Yeah, it's, you know, a lot of times when you have something new, the newness of it overall is what is interesting in kind of the first cycle or first wave of adoption, whether that's a new technology, a new game, a new version of an F1 car. I mean, anything within that realm. And so to just stick with you, Sebastian, on this topic, like, how do you approach the question of providing value in the metaverse, not just in the short term for something that is new, but in long term as well?
The first question I think we should ask is like, what makes an NFT valuable? As the technology behind blockchain has enabled digital asset to be tokenized and essentially enabled three things: the proof of authorship, so who is the creator of an NFT, the proof of ownership, like who currently owns it, and the whole history of the past owners, and the digital scarcity. Those three elements have been mostly used to value NFTs until recently, where, and I think it's the most interesting aspect, the utility aspect of the NFTs has been really the one that's now started to drive value. It passed in 2020, 2021. People were really attached just to digital scarcity and the aesthetic and the ownership and the authorship. Today, thanks to having more games, more play to earn, more metaverse, users are able to interact with those NFTs. And that's a lot what Sandbox provides through this creation tool, through the game maker and the game clients, so game mechanics behind that enable users to interact. One clear example is avatars. Like, people are usually entering into NFT through what is called profile picture project, like a collection of 10,000 2D images, sometimes 3D assets that are procedurally generated based on a variation of traits. This is great. They look all good, and we can have a certain value system within the community of holders. But until recently, you couldn't do much of those 2D or 3D character except like displaying them over your Web2 social media profile. With Sandbox, we've worked to implement something called the interoperability bridge, which essentially offer you a new representation for the same token that you own into a wallet, turning 2D profile picture into 3D playable characters that come with 70 animation. They can jump, run, fight, socialize, dance, etc., into a virtual world. So suddenly you have like all the holders from those communities that can enter a virtual space, chat together, dance, do activities, and they can do so much more. They can become creative, they can build extra experience on neighbor lands, etc., developing the whole world, the whole universe around those characters. And hence, that is increasing the utility. The same token has more functions now across different apps, even though the original creator of that collection didn't necessarily think about it. And through that, I believe it's a great example of like how the Web3 ecosystem is building and how anyone can add a utility to existing tokens and leverage that both as a user acquisition strategy. I want to bring the holders of certain communities and really do that in a win-win situation where everyone grows and accrue value for the people who contribute to building that world, that content, those communities, and engage them.
Yeah, that's actually like a really, really excellent overview of where we sit, of the innovations and kind of the Web3 and NFT space over the last 12 to 16 months. And at least to turn to you and really building off that same question of providing value in kind of these new experiences and these new worlds. McLaren Racing as a brand is legacy. It has provenance. It has gravitas. But when you look back to when McLaren got started as an automotive engineering behemoth, there weren't all these things distracting people from their attention. There was F1. There were one or two other major sports, global franchises and sporting leagues. Now people can go and spend 12, 20 hours a day in the sandbox or some other metaverse. So why is McLaren now also dipping its toes, not just into a small pool, but really the deep end of esports, of metaverse, of NFTs, and in all of these additional layers?
Yeah, really good question. So I think one of the main reasons why we look to enter into some of these new areas is all about touch points, really. So I'll use the example of our most recent car launch. So 2022, it's a really exciting season in Formula One. It's the biggest year of rule changes that there's been for perhaps a decade, maybe longer. So there's going to be closer racing. So that's really, really exciting. So all of the teams, and if you're an avid Formula One fan, you will have seen they've released their new car over the last couple of weeks. But really, whilst that's a huge moment for the general fan, there isn't a lot to interact with outside of talking about the design or how the team's going to finish this year. So what we did in tandem with our physical launch was launch the car in a environment in Roblox, so people could essentially go look at the car, take a picture with the car, buy some merch. They could take that car and they could drive it in a game straight away. The main line that we used to talk about that was that you could drive the car before the drivers get to drive it, which I think was quite a nice way to tie it all up. So for us, that one, it allowed us to provide some interactivity to an item, which whilst it was a big moment, there normally isn't tons of interactivity. And then two, it allowed us to talk to a whole new fan group. And we often think of in Formula One, the biggest drivers of new fans are probably the Netflix Drive to Survive series. And I'm going to say second, I think everything that's happening in the world of gaming, esports, etc. So that's why McLaren wants to be not just first on the track, but first in those areas of innovation.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's a really good segue to ask you the question of, tell us about your background, the room we see behind you.
Yes. So this is the McLaren Shadow Studio. So this is the home of gaming within McLaren. So this is quite handily right next to my office. But as you come into the McLaren Technology Center and you see the beautiful cars on the boulevard and the bays where they make the F1 car, we have this gaming and content studio here. So our esports team can race, train, and create content here. We've got some PC setup. So we've had, Lando Norris, for example, testing out Roblox from this room, doing a little bit of streaming, etc. So for us, this is a great space to introduce fans when we get them in the building, and also our partners to the world of gaming. And I think it's one of those things where we're often talking to brands about how they can partner with us and enter some of these spaces with us. And I think sometimes explaining it becomes quite difficult, but when you show it, people quite quickly get it. So this space definitely helps us achieve that.
Yeah, and I think we've, just to kind of take a pause for a second, I think we've done a great job really establishing, where you both are coming from on this topic. And would love to just kind of toss a brain teaser out there and ask, is the definition of a gamer the same as it was 5-10 years ago, or how has it changed? At least, and we can start with you on it.
I think for us, we think of gaming as like a really important culture. And I think that the main change hasn't actually been the gamer, it's been the perception of the gamer, I would say. So I would class myself as a gamer, and my other passions are art, streetwear, food, travel. And I'm exactly the same person that I've always been, but I think I'm just perceived a little bit differently. People are getting that actually you might be a high net worth individual if you're a gamer. You might be interested in history or lots of other different things. So I think it's actually seeing that cross pollination of gaming and esports fans with lots of different areas, which I think a lot of other people have just started to realize, that person actually has a wide sort of range of, experiences and passion. So that's kind of the change that I would say. And then I read a really interesting stat recently, which was in The Guardian, about gaming being the the eminent kind of culture. Like it used to be music for the youth, but now it's gaming.
Yeah, and Sebastian, same question kind of to you, but like, is somebody just walking around the metaverse in the sandbox? Are they a gamer?
I think definitely, like the notion of gamer is definitely shifting since what it used to be about 10 years ago. Like today, there's roughly 2.4 billion gamer overall. I think like the metaverse is this opportunity to bring more than like 5 billion, 7 billion gamer, because it's really broadening the perspective of like gaming is a mechanic, not really a destination. And like we're moving more into like entertainment, into like all sort of user experience that range from shows, from art galleries, from virtual concerts, from immersive interactive experiences where you get to try a product, where you get to interact with a community, where you get to dance with other users and you have fun and you come back to that. What Sandbox does, actually, we just opened this yesterday, this alpha season, our second alpha season, bringing back users, and they will get through over a whole month, to experience 35 different kind of content, some made by the community itself, some made with major IPs and brands, including Snoop Dogg, including South China Morning Post, including Blondish as a DJ. And they will interact, they will complete quests, they will do activities, and they will do all of that without even thinking through like, oh, this is a game or this is a concert. It's just like this is becoming more slice of life that you engage through an avatar, that 3D character that allows you to do tons of different activities in the metaverse, and that you can take across different virtual worlds now, like carrying your identity, carrying your digital asset. And the beauty of it is like, thanks to this interoperability and the fact that we're now decentralized, actually the engagement, the fun goes beyond just the game itself. Like you can take your wallet and connect it across marketplaces, across different platforms, do DeFi, do staking, do other form of engagement. So it's becoming really almost transmedia, both in the culture and into the usage.
Yeah, and it almost sounds like if we take the idea that the definition of the gamer is expanding, the funnel is getting bigger, wouldn't that also mean that then the amount of experiences that a gamer can experience is also growing as well? Open-ended. Whoever wants to jump on it.
It is. And what we used to consider, I think like we've seen various trends in gaming. I've been more than 10 years into gaming. I started with mobile free to play, but then came like hyper casual, came like HTML5 game, came Oculus and VR experiences, web-based experiences. Now we're seeing play to earn, where users are entering for the first time. Most of them, like they were not the typical definition of what a gamer is, and now they start playing, they are fun, and both they take some revenue eventually or rewards for that kind of engagement. That's why, in my opinion, everything can be gamified now, and gaming is going to be the main way to drive retention, to drive engagement, to drive rewards mechanism that makes you want to come back into those experiences.
Yeah. Leaston, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's really exciting just seeing that there is just going to be so many different experiences. And to Sebastian's point, even more things in the future that you wouldn't necessarily have traditionally thought of as gaming will be prevalent. So yeah, really excited to see it continue to grow.
So, Leaston, what was the first game you ever played?
The first game I ever played. Oh, I'm gonna age myself probably with that question, but I don't mind. I can't think if it was the first game, but the first game I really remember playing was definitely Sonic 2. Yeah, the platformer, the famous character on the Sega, and I think it's obviously incredible to see where gaming as an experience has got to since that time.
Sebastian, do you remember the first game you ever worked on?
Well, where the first game I played, I got offered like the Super NES, Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, depending on the country. So it was probably Super Mario World. It's on 16 bits. Then I played almost every console, etc. And the first game I worked on, actually, this was when we co-founded our mobile free-to-play game studio, and the first title was the Sandbox, actually, on mobile. So Sandbox original story is like it's a game that came to life in 2011 with the idea of using this new technology by then, smartphone and their touchscreen, in order to turn players into creators. Back to this idea, which was very successful back then and drove 40 million downloads, 70 million player-made creation. We always had this idea that we should make new technology accessible, and gaming was a great way to do that. And again, the same with NFTs and blockchain in general.
Yeah, and I think one route that we'd be remiss if we didn't touch on is that everyone really started as kind of that casual gamer, for one reason or another, past the time, exploration. But today we see the category of professional gaming taking off. And, at least I know with McLaren, like you all even have people competing on the esports side under the McLaren brand. And how has that transformed even your approach to gaming, whether with McLaren overall or just in general? How does professional gaming factor into the changing of the experience?
Yeah, so I think for us, we've got a couple of esports drivers who compete in a series called the F1 Esports Series, representing all the F1 teams, and we are actively looking actually at other series which have the right sort of brand fit for McLaren. But I think the way that it goes now with professional teams and professional organizations, when you add in some of these brands now, the level of competitiveness just goes through the roof, and it becomes about finding, in our case, those milliseconds or tenths, as you call them, and in other games, those minor points that you can change that make the difference in a competition. So in the studio that you see behind me, we take all of the data from our racing drivers. We analyze that the exact same way that the racing teams do, and just try to find small performance gains on a consistent basis so that we're competing on a high level. So I think the amount of time, resource, effort that can kind of go into gaming at that level is incredible. And I think that people probably never imagined when they were creating the first games that they would have created an industry like that. So yeah, we definitely approach gaming from a sort of scientific point of view when it comes to competing. And then obviously there's the nutrition and the fitness side of things as well, which can't be discounted when you're competing at that level. So for us, it's that real change of seriousness, and in the competitions that we're in, we see that change year on year and grow. And I think that as the player ecosystem becomes bigger, the viewership becomes bigger, the prize money becomes bigger, teams then take it even more seriously. So it might look a lot like what some of our major sports in terms of, NFL, soccer looks like in a couple of years' time. And in some games where there is, huge amounts of prize money, it already does look quite a lot like that.
Yeah. The fact that there is let's call it an R&D hub within like a massive R&D hub in terms of a technical center that's churning out state-of-the-art F1 vehicles. Does that impact the development of the game overall?
So I think definitely there are ways to impact the development of the game. So in the F1 series of games that we race in, we actually, which is quite interesting, we had Lando do some driving for us, and he actually gave some feedback around the difference that it is driving a real F1 car versus how it works in games, some things being simpler or more difficult. And F1 did actually look to make that feedback into the games to make them more realistic, which I think is incredible. Having a Formula One driver almost kind of consult on what's happening in a game. We tend to not influence the game outside of that. It's a little bit like I'm thinking of another esports team. You don't want to kind of go to the publisher too much and make the game in your favor. But I think the fact that there are these organizations that are spending, I guess, time and money to kind of exploit any potential benefit does change how that game is then developed in the future.
Yeah, and Sebastian, I almost think that the same question to you is tweaked a little bit, and almost that a lot of the people that want to come to use what you all are building, whether it's brands or other types of activations, or folks like Snoop Dogg or Blondish, etc. How does their involvement impact your development?
Well, the story of Sandbox is always all about creator, and that's how again the metaverse NFT based version about 4 years ago started. Like, we first brought in a community of creators, we built the tool for them, a Vox Editor 3D editor, our game maker, which is no code, and we've been engaging these creators or the artists through various contests, through various competition, to build exciting content, to bring new content that then players could enjoy. The player side just really opened recently at Sandbox. Like, our first alpha season was last December. Our second is just live right now and shows very exciting promises. So it takes time to build games, as you know. It takes time to build a virtual world. That's why we have always had this creator first approach. We bring brands, and through the brands, we bring their fans as well to engage. But the first thing that the fans do, essentially, when also they follow, is they see the land sale, they become the virtual neighbor into the metaverse from their favorite brands or content. Some of them we brought include The Walking Dead, include Adidas, include Warner Music Group, Ubisoft with the Rabbit, Gucci, Snoop Dogg, which I think is so far one of the leading example of like fan engagement. He launched his mansion into the Sandbox, which you will be able to play and enter into with this alpha season. He launched his avatar collection, where there's a 10,000 collection of 3D version. Each one is unique, and it's already playable into a virtual world. So not only you can be the Snoop, but you can play as Snoop anywhere. He also launched the Snoop Early Access Pass, which is like sort of an NFT ticket that give access to various benefits, NFT drop over time, will give access to his first concert onto his land, and so on. So really showcasing a lot of ways that users can and his fan can engage with and do things that they cannot do normally into the real world, because such a few people in life will be able to visit his mansion. Now it's accessible to everyone. We also seen a lot of engagement through user-generated content. Like when we launched the Walking Dead Game Jam, we had several thousand of player-made creation using the Walking Dead NFTs. People were imagining new stories, new episodes from the Robert Kirkman comic book, and really expanding the whole universe. Many of them, they never created games before. So we leveraged new skills, new talents, and made those useful for the purpose of the overall community and the brand itself.
Yeah, and I think actually we should back up a couple steps in for the Sandbox, and really, here at Blockspace presented by Tezos at South by Southwest, one of the installations is actually the ability to scan yourself into a 3D avatar for use in the metaverse. And I think a lot of people, when they hear the Sandbox, they hear all these amazing things happening in it. The first question, if they're not familiar, is, okay, how do I get involved? What's the first step do I take? So how do you answer that? If you're explaining the concept and the engagement and the activity and the experience to somebody who's not a gamer, not familiar with the metaverse, the ideas of it, what is it?
to me, like the entry point to the metaverse, any virtual world, any metaverse, it's the avatar. It's as simple as that. I think anyone can understand that there is this 3D character that you can customize any way you like. It can be man or woman or any gender or any representation. Doesn't need to be actually human. You choose to be that character, and that character then is your entry point to various kind of experiences, which could range from just like cultural, education, art gallery, museum, to pure gaming one, as we've seen in Roblox or Fortnite, etc. That's what anyone should just remember. I should start creating my avatar right now. What I will do next with it, then it's now up to us, the builders, to create.
And you know, Lisa, I almost think that for the McLaren brand, the avatar is actually like the livery, the logo. And how has McLaren almost approached the portability of like the livery of the brand, the logo, into other games, not just in the traditional F1 world?
Yeah, so I guess if the avatar is the brand, there's, you know, our trademark papaya and our blue colors, which really represent McLaren, and then also our speed mark, but then also the drivers who are great ambassadors, the most popular F1 drivers on the grid, actually, Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. So for example, when we had the Roblox experience, people could purchase the full sort of like driver overall and their face and facial expressions to use as their character. And as well as that, we also sold like merchandise, which was very similar to the teamwear that we sell on our e-commerce site. So you could buy some like a hoodie or a t-shirt that made you feel like you were part of the McLaren team, or as we might call them, the papaya army. So I think those sort of cues help people, you know, create an avatar which feels very McLaren. And then we also have done some sort of mobile gaming executions which are different from, you know, generic just being a race car. And we actually created a sort of car of the future, which is in the
下雨天了怎么办？我好想你，不敢打给你，我找不到原因。为什么失眠的声音变得好熟悉？沉默的场景，做你的代替，陪我等雨停。期待让人越来越沉迷，谁和我一样等不到他的谁？爱上你我总在学会寂寞的滋味，一个人撑伞，一个人擦泪，一个人好累。怎样的雨，怎样的夜，怎样的我能让你更想念？雨要多大，天要多黑，才能够有你的体贴？其实没有我，你分不清那些差别，结局还能多明显？别说你会难过，别说你想改变，被爱的人不用道歉。
对，哎，开始往下了，继续，哎，挺可惜的，刚刚进不了第三注，哎，正少了，又不记得走，刚刚，哎，浪费。
谁和我一样等不到他的谁？爱上你我总在学会寂寞的滋味，一个人撑伞，一个人
哎，希望今晚还有多一两波吧。 比较无聊这个事。对啊，这个是 QQQQ 啊，这是辣子来的。你们一般应该是用附图牛的啊，我们的这边2个 position 就是等于你们一张小的期货。对，如果用 QQQ 的话，应该没有我这种的就是盈利状况，因为我们这边是比较高杠杆，大约是100倍杠杆的玩法来的。如果做期货的话，大约66倍左右。对，其实纳斯达克期货跟这个 QQQ 差别不大，只有一点点偏差吧。那你们平时是直接玩这个 QQQ 还是这个期货呢？差不多了，等再穿多一回就走了。但我觉得你们拿不定的话，可以先走一半仓位吧，比较方便。现在尝试一下追一下注码吧。没有去骑马了，哪有这么多人给我骑呢？对不对？直接棋子棋子有一种比较烦，就是它保证金的比例是比较贵一点的。你买一张大约是一张期货吧，你大约要的保证金2000左右吧，这是小期货。我这边这个平台还用的一般好像是100一个 position， 那就是200多300吧。你看我现在买了12张500左右，比较便宜吧。什么是李全杰？我不懂。这个比较简单，你买就是它的 position 是一张的话，就直接把你挣的点数乘100，就是一点这样算的。就是比如你1万我现在咋说呢？就是1万2900升一点2 12901，你就挣1块钱了。
叫我怎么能不难过？你劝我灭了心中的火，我还能够怎么说？怎么说都是错。你对我说 离开就会解脱，试着自己去生活，试着找寻自我。
这个破产的几率比较小，因为呢，如果方向不对的话，可以同时买相反方向，它这个动作叫锁仓是比较好的，就是情况不稳的时候，它可以直接把你现在我账上不是盈亏几块钱左右吧，我直接买相反方向就可以做这个锁仓。如果情况不对劲的话，我最多也是亏损，现在的话20块钱吧。如果我立马锁仓，其实是可以规避这个风险。
谁知道会有多少错，多少错。叫我怎么能不难过？你劝我们来心中的火，我还能够怎么做？怎么做都是错。如果要我把心对你解剖，只要改变这结果，我会说我愿意做。我受够了寂寞。怎么说出口？我的心里好难受。如果能将你拥有，我会忍住不让眼泪流。第一次握你的手，指尖传来你的温柔。每一次深情眼光的背后，谁知道会有多少种？多少种？爱要怎么说出口？我的心里好难受。如果能将你拥有，我会忍住不让眼泪流。第一次握你的手，指尖传来你的温柔。每一次深情眼光的背后，谁知道会有多少错？多少错？
你在说我是用多少分钟 K 线吗？5分钟啊，对啊，我是用5分钟 K 线为准的，差不多。
还记得妈妈说，陪一个男孩子长大要用青春来做赌注。我要听着亲戚们的闲话，等你为我送来一束鲜花。到后来我们俩连一句不咸不淡的问候终于也没有了。我为你把所有人都推开，只为了那不确定的未来。先生的一句喜欢，三言两语我就投降。后来我身边有他，身后有家，但我只想问你一句，你爱过吗？从前对妈妈说谎，翻山越岭，只为能与你拥抱一场幻想，披上红妆。后来你去了理想，我交给了虎队们，但爱与不爱又何妨？从前说无惧伤害，用999张车票环游你的未来， 来，只要你在。后来你把我归还人海，哭着说欠我的未来，下辈子再爱。先生的一句喜欢，3言2语我就投降。后来我身边有他，身后有家，但我只想问你一句：你爱过吗？从前对妈妈说谎，翻山越岭，只为能与你拥抱一场幻想，披上红妆。后来你去了理想，我嫁给了户对门的爱与不爱又何妨？从前说无惧伤害，用999张车票环游你的未来，只要你在。后来你把我归还人海，哭着说欠我的未来，下辈子再爱。后悔爱过你，就算没在一起，没说出我愿意，没关系，没给我个家，我不怪你。从前对妈妈说谎，翻山越岭，只为能与你拥抱一场幻想，披上红妆。后来你去了理想，我嫁给了户对门当，爱与不爱又何妨？从前说无惧伤害，用999张车票环游你的未来，只要你在。后来你把我归还人海，哭着说欠我的未来，下辈子再爱。
终于看到你穿着想要的那种婚纱，你右手接过那捧花，从今后换成他，保护你，照顾你，不论贫穷富裕。
对的，我加多了一注。
推证我要的那一幕。我知道我会哭，也知道我哭是为给你祝福。爱过了就不遗憾，有什么好遗憾？今后提起你的姓名，反正我也可以想到曾经在一起，争吵玩笑都发自内心。爱情不止一种定义，错过了也不遗憾，只要是好答案，别回头看，回头太难。你要变得勇敢，这一辈子我牵你。如果来生还可能继续，再用尽一生找寻你在哪里。错过了也不遗憾，只要是好答案，别回头看，回头太难。你要变得勇敢，这一辈子我牵你。如果来生还可能继续，再用尽一生找寻你在哪里。
北極星就喺呢度，仲有 Big Dipper 同 Small Dipper，好靚啊！
哦，对啊，对对，我是空单来的，我在沽空呢。
もう少しだけもう少しだけ踏み出せたのなら、そう小さな優しさを分け合えたのなら、ありふれた一日が素敵な日になってゆく。ほらそうやって何度でも喜びは巡る。慌ただしく過ぎる朝に、いつも通り過ぎる朝に、頼まれたお使いと予定を照らす君が教えてくれた。当てにしてない占いの言葉、いつもしないことを、だってそんなこと頭の隅に置いたまま、いつもの共演。もう少しだけもう少しだけ踏み出せたのなら、もう少しだけあと少しだけ優しくなれたのなら、ありふれた一日も素敵な日になってゆくような、そんな気がしたんだ。今喜びは巡る。暗いニュースが流れる朝に、気持ちが沈んでいく朝に、自分はいらない存在なんて考える朝に、あなたのこと思い出したんだ。あなたに会いたくなったんだ。久しぶりに会いに行くよ、今すぐに。待ちに待ったそんな朝に、思いを馳せる日の朝に、いつもよりも早く家を出る不意に触れた誰かの優しさが私の優しさに変わったんだ。ほら喜びは巡る。もう少しだけもう少しだけ踏み出せたことが、もう少しだけほんの少しだけ優しくなれたことが、ありふれた一日を特別な一日にほら変えてくれたんだ。きっと今日もあなたから私へと思いが伝わる。そう僕から君にほら喜びが広がる。ありふれた毎日から踏み出した優しさが今誰かに届いて、きっと巡り続けるんだずっと。あどこまでも今日もどこかであなたが今を生きるあなたがただ小さな幸せを見つけられますように。涙流すことすらないまま過ごした日々のあと一つも残さずに、さよならだ。一人で迎えた朝に鳴り響く誰かの音、二人で過ごした部屋で目を閉じたまま考えてた。悪いのは誰だわかんないよ、誰のせいでもない。多分僕らは何回だってきっと、そう何年だってきっと、さよならとともに終わるだけなんだ。仕方がないよきっと、おかえり思わ
他撑不住了。
沈むように溶けてゆくように二人だけの空が広がる夜にさよならだけだったその一言で全てが分かった日が沈み出した空と君の姿フェンス越しに重なってた初めて会った日から僕の心の全てを奪ったどこか儚い空気をまとう君は寂しい目をしてたんだいつだってチクタクとなる世界で何度だってさ触れる心ない言葉うるさい声に涙がこぼれそうでもありきたりな喜びきっと二人なら見つけられる騒がしい日々に笑えない君に思いつく限り眩しい明日を明けない夜に落ちてゆく前に僕の手を掴んでほら忘れてしまいたくて閉じ込めた日々も抱きしめたぬくもりで溶かすから怖くないよいつか日が昇るまで二人でいよう君にしか見えない何かを見つめる君が嫌いだ見とれているかのような恋するようなそんな顔が嫌いだ 信じてたいけど信じれないこと、そんなのどうしたってきっとこれからだっていくつもあって、そのたんび怒って泣いてくの。それでもきっといつかはきっと僕らはきっと分かり合えるさ、信じてるよ。もう嫌だって疲れたんだって、がむしゃらに差し伸べた僕の手を振り払う君。もう嫌だって疲れたよなんて本当は僕も言いたいんだ。ドラマがチックタックとなる世界で何度だってさ、君のために用意した言葉どれも届かない、終わりにしたいだなんてさ、つられて言葉にした時、君は初めて笑ったしい日々に笑えなくなっていた僕の目に映る君は綺麗だ。明けない夜にこぼれた涙も君の笑顔に溶けてく。変わらない日々に泣いていた僕を君は優しく終わりへと誘う。沈むように溶けてゆくように染みついた霧が晴れる。忘れてしまいたくて閉じ込めた日々に差し伸べてくれた君の手を取る。涼しい風が空を泳ぐように今吹き抜けてゆく。繋いだ手を離さないでよ、二人今夜に駆け出してく。
ありがとうございました。はい、改めまして夜遊びです。よろしくお願いします。
じゃあぼちぼち830人ぐらいになったので、夜にかけるやります。おお、日が当たりたらちょっと緊張するね。沈むように溶けてゆくように、ちょっともうちょっとゆっくりしていい？二人だけの空が広がる夜に、さよならだけだったその一言で全てが分かった。日が沈み出した空と君の姿、フェンス越しに重なってた。初めて会った日から僕の心の全てを奪った。どこか儚い空気をまとう君は寂しい目をしてたんだ。ごめんね。いつだってチクタクとなる世界で何度だってさ、触れる心ない言葉うるさい声に涙がこぼれそうでも、ありきたりな喜びきっと二人なら見つけられる。あ、ページが飛んじゃった。ごめんね。でね、大丈夫大丈夫。ちょっと前からやる。ありきたりな喜びきっと二人なら見つけられる。騒がしい日々に笑えない日々に思いつく限り眩しい明日を、明けない夜に落ちてゆく前に僕の手を掴んでほら、忘れてしまいたくて閉じ込めた日々も抱きしめた 930人ぐらい見てる。
ラジオネームライディさん、
はい、
綾瀬さん、彫刻のツイッターを見たのですが、
ほう
矢部市にある常盤ミュージアムは、最近彫刻素材の粘土のネンドリアンと、大理石のマーブルというキャラクターも推してるみたいです。ほう、彫刻だけじゃない、第二の資格も得る宇部市、恐るべしですとのことで。なるほど、
綾瀬さんも知らない情報。
あ、ちょっと見せてねこれネンドリアンですか？
ネンドリアンって見せていいんですか？
ちょっと映像で見れる方は見ていただきます。ちょっと待って、ちょっと
ちょっとこっちじゃない？
ちょっと難しい。これ
ち
ちょっと皆さん調べてみてください。ラジオをお聞きの方。
一応ネンドリアンだとマーブル。
还是打这个球。到绿球，避开绿球。不是最好的位置。反正现在这个小特还有自由选择线路的一个，来这边也行。他选择了打下边这颗，打最右边这颗，沉底。这是跟希金斯学了吧？往这边来也可以啊。打这个球往上边去，右上方也行。力度是真好，力度是真好。这颗球也是可以走的。这颗球是哇，有凶险，要打得很薄。还有就是打这颗球，打这颗球的右塞，这样来走。哇，这条线路挺险的，力量轻了一点啊，力量轻了一点，留下了一个进攻的机会。68%的长台进球成功率，56%。小特感觉到有调整啊，哇，咖啡球还是可以做连接。这危险啊！一库上来这个中间，没问题啊。来这个中间。并没有，他直接先叫这颗了。现在黑球的位置好像是没有下球，粉球点位摆不来下，如果摆不下，他就摆在这个位置，粉球单黑球打，有利于连续得分。
然后去这个主舞台跟他们聊会儿天去啊，嘿嘿，卖米时间到。OK， 家人们，大家晚上好啊！欢迎大家。哎，等一下啊，我再切一下图像。哦，是这么回事。好嘞。欧了，来了，没事，信号断一下啊。哎，过来跟大家聊会儿天吗？大球怎么跑上面去？台，欢迎大家，主台直播间的家人们，大家晚上好啊！我是主播罗尼万，来自帝都北京。如果大家，电风扇是什么东西没有电风扇。多少了？比分现在是14-11啊，14-11。这个第3阶段小特打得非常好啊，反打了火箭一个6-2。 最后一局小特的运气真好啊，那杆真的运气好。如果要是掉链，我觉得以火老师刚才那个上一局的那个手感，再加上球形的那种分散程度啊，我觉得真的应该没什么问题，一杆超分，然后打成一个3-5的话，还是比较能接受的啊，是吧？但是现在这个比分的话迫近了，看似悬念丛生，好像这个观众都很嗨啊，因为值回票价，第3阶段不是垃圾时间了，这回，有悬念了啊，有悬念了。现在的比分是14-11啊，14-11。哎呦，我这脖子呀，真的是痛！就别喊开盘的事儿了，家人们，就看录像在开盘，你们真是走火入魔了。抽个奖吧，在我的直播间给大家准备个奖品啊，还是这个就是见面礼。每一次我上主舞台的话，都会给大家准备一些见面礼，因为咱们家也有好多的这个品牌赞助方啊，所以的话，这个奖品很多。咱们不抽的话，也是最后还是要还给品牌方，对不对？就便宜品牌方了。那咱们还是抽奖吧，咱们来抽一个那个塔里斯曼的翘粉啊，职业翘粉，英国的塔里斯曼，在主播罗尼曼的个人直播间389031直播间。哎，算了，咱们先来一个200大礼包吧，先来一个200的台球大礼包，好吧？别了，别那个什么了，别抠抠缩缩的了，是吧？直接咱们来一个200的大礼包。左上角有我的微信号啊，不是什么呀，左上角有我的房间号，需要从主舞台跳转到主播罗尼曼的个人直播间啊，然后来这个参与本轮抽奖活动。我的直播间号是389031，需要搜索一下啊，或者是搜索罗尼曼都可以找到我。我们的抽奖马上开始，200的台球大礼包，里面一颗价值180元的职业手工定制皮头。主要为职业球手提供，当然也有一些这个打 Q school 啊，还有一些这个业余的，但是高手啊也可以消费得起。想感受一下职业皮头打杆的啊，职业打杆手工皮头的家人们，单层皮头的天花板了算是。然后加上一枚奥秘的职业翘粉，我们的抽奖马上开始。对，就在这儿抽奖啊，马上1分钟之后啊，1分钟之后，389031直播间算是给大家带来一个见面礼。一会儿我们还会安排很多的抽奖，虽然咱们看的不是直播比赛，但是我还会给大家准备很多的抽奖，这算是福利放送时间吧，大家可以这么理解，好吧？预备，开始，好了，已经开始抽奖了啊！特隆普这个阶段打的确实不错啊，确实很不错。反观火老师好像是有一点点的这个懈怠啊，对这个不像头2个阶段那么专注在比赛里。对，389031直播间啊，我们现在已经开始抽了，一共才3个人参与抽奖，不是吧，家人们？4个，这4个人在抽奖，这对，点击完订阅之后找那个彩色电视机就可以参与啊，有一个彩色电视机，这概率不是特别大。从数据上来分析的话，那个小特如果想过火箭的决赛这一关，确实很难啊，确实非常的难。因为的话，火老师一共是 这是第8次进这个世锦赛的决赛，前面的7次的话是6胜，拿了6个冠军，而且的话，最重要的一点是比分没有让任何一个对手超过12，这真的是我的地盘我做主的感觉啊！就是如果小特想完成这种惊天大逆转的话，需要真的是超凡的发挥。不过有人说历史就是用来这个什么的，是吧？就是用来打破的，也对啊，也没有毛病。只是说从这个数据的角度分析啊，从这个历史数据的角度来分析。哦，如果要是送那个超火的话，对，就送一张超粉牌啊。现在咱们这个直播间可以开这个超粉，直接送一个超粉卡，然后就可以 R 火的那个超粉卡，直接就可以这个送超火来参与抽奖啊。不是非要超火，也有那个粉丝牌的这个选项。哪有彩色电视机？你点完订阅以后，你找一下那个屏幕上面啊，有一个彩色的倒数计时的电视机，小标志啊，点击一下，你不会错过的。对，我们的抽奖已经开始了啊。一会儿咱们换一个，不用这个抽了，不用超火抽了，因为刚才是给我们家人抽的，现在咱们这个主舞台好多家人还没有卡过咱家的超粉牌啊，所以的话，有点不太公平。一会儿我给大家开那个什么吧，开正常的那个什么小星星啊，好吧，咱们用小星星，一颗小星星来抽。现在只有3个人啊，只有3个人在参与抽奖，只有3个人，因为我设置的原因，可能是我设置的原因啊。还有6分钟的时间，福利放送时间啊，然后顺便也回答一下大家的弹幕，跟大家互动一下，因为主播一般给这个大家的感觉，主舞台的主播好像都不太跟大家弹幕互动哈，所以的话，官方这边也是希望更多的一些互动。这边我来跟大家来聊会儿天啊，有什么关于赛事相关的信息这个问题，然后跟球员相关的，或者是跟这个无论是在技术方面遇到什么样的瓶颈了，或者说是你想这个提高，大多数人都会问一个后手不稳的问题，就是说为什么我不准，对吧？
剩下钢琴没。
也许世界就这样，我也还在路上，没有人能诉说。也许我只能沉默，眼泪湿润眼眶，可又不敢懦弱。低着头，期待白昼，接受所有的嘲讽，向着风，拥抱彩虹，勇敢地向前走。黎明的那道光会越过黑暗，打破一切恐惧，我能找到答案。哪怕要逆着光就去sang黑暗，就去所有的负担，不再孤单，不再孤单。也许世界就这样，我也还在路上，没有人能诉说。也许我只能沉默，眼泪湿润眼眶，可又不敢懦弱。低着头，期待白昼，接受所有的嘲讽，向着风，拥抱彩虹，勇敢地向前走。黎明的那道光会越过黑暗，打破一切恐惧，我能找到答案。哪怕要逆着光就去sang黑暗，就去所有的负担，不再孤单，不再孤单。黎明的那道光会越过黑暗，打破一切恐惧，我能找到答案。哪怕要逆着光就去sang黑暗，有1万种的力量淹没孤单，不再孤单。
Getting ready for this, I wondered about a lot of things. I wonder what it would be like to perform for 70,000 people. I wonder what it would look like if they were all lit up and just dancing around like no one was watching them. I wonder what would happen if I invited the most amazing artists in the world to come out with me and perform on my stage. Would they do it? I wonder what it would be like to get so lost in it every night and never want it to end. It would be like this. This is the 1989 World Tour. Blank Space is one of my favorite moments in the show every night because the song is essentially about a girl who comes off incredibly charming and is very seductive and pulls people into her world. And then she proceeds to just go absolutely psycho. We wanted to kind of replicate the video, and we wanted it to be a performance showcasing me and all these supposed ex-lovers who I've terrorized and ruined and become absolutely obsessed with, and we wanted it to watch that play out on stage. The media kind of got on board with this idea a couple years ago that I'm this player and I'm a serial dater and I just am constantly dating for sport. So when I wrote Blank Space, I just thought, all right, if they want to play this character, they want to paint this picture of this girl who's just picking up men left and right, and you know, this whole imagery of this jet-setting, tragic mess that I apparently am. Cool, I'll write a song from that perspective and see how you like it. And it ended up being the biggest song I've ever had.
Boys only want love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Boys only want love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't. Nice to meet you, where you been? I can show you incredible things. Magic, madness, heaven, sin. Saw you there and I thought, oh my God, look at that face. You look like the next mistake. Love's a game,
a very important lesson that I've learned along the way. Would you like to hear it? Boys only want love if it's Georgia. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Boys only want love if it's Georgia. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Boys only want love if it's Georgia. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Boys only want love if it's Georgia. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Boys only want love if it's Georgia. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Boys only want love if it's Georgia. Don't say I didn't warn ya. It's gonna go down in flames. You can tell me when it's over. It's worth the pain. Got a long list of ex-lovers. They'll tell you I'm insane. You know I love the players, and you love the game. It's way too far. It'll leave you breathless. Even nasty far. Got a long list of ex-lovers. They'll tell you I'm insane, but I've got a blank face, and I'll write your name.
What I'm battling in this day and age is that every person in the audience probably know what costumes I'm gonna wear. They could know the set list if they really wanted to. And so I decided to start inviting special guests out. Getting people to say yes to come up on stage was a lot easier than I thought. I'd never want to pressure anybody. I'd never go, come on. But people started to realize before they even got there that if they were to walk out on stage, the crowd's gonna freak out and they're gonna scream, and it's gonna be an amazing moment for everyone involved.
Nick Jonas! Oh! They're screaming and they're screaming and they're screaming.
Some of the special guest appearances and performances were planned months in advance. You know, I would reach out to an artist that I love.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Frozen is huge. Idina Menzel is incredible. It was Halloween. I wonder if she would dress as Elsa.
I'm walking with this during style, so it's like... Happy Halloween!
Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore.
And after the first chorus, these reindeer come up and pull our costumes off, and then, there's another outfit underneath.
To see what I can do to test the limits and break through.
And I'd know that I had this person confirmed for here, I had this person confirmed for here.
Okay. Los Angeles, make some noise because Selena Gomez is here. Ellie Goulding is here.
I'd say, I love your music. Here's the schedule. Here are the tour dates. Whichever one you want to come to, we'd love to have you.
DC, Lord is here for you tonight. Will you say a warm hello to my friend The Weeknd?
I can't feel my face when I'm with you. Yeah, but I love
what this did was it really showed me how many artists out there love what they do so much that they are willing to just get up and play because it's fun.
Put me down.
years ago, I was at the Grammys, and I was lucky enough to be nominated for Album of the Year for my last album, Red. The announcer said, and the Album of the Year goes to Random Access Memories, Daft Punk, which sounds a lot like Red. So for about 2 seconds, I thought we had it, but we didn't. And I ended up going home, like, thinking a lot about everything, thinking about where I was going, what I'd been doing, how I felt like I needed to change something. And I went to bed, and I woke up at 4 in the morning, and I knew what the next album needed to be. I'm gonna completely switch gears. It needs to be called 1989. Everything about this new phase and this new chapter has to be different.
Oh, it's good to be back in Australia! I've spent a lot of time here. I love coming to see you. I always come to see you, and I'm always going to. And because I've been to Sydney so many times, I'm very well aware of the fact that there are a million things that you could be doing with your Saturday night. Am I right? But instead of doing all those other things, you, all 76,000 of you, decided to hang out with me tonight. Thank you! Another thing that I wanted to say thank you for, really look you in the eye, come here and say it to you in person. Thank you for something that you did just over a year ago. About a year ago, I put out an album that I made called 1989. And you did something really remarkable. You cared about it. You welcomed it into your life, into your car, into your parties, into your room. You memorized all the lyrics to it, and I know that's a lot of work because I write a lot of lyrics. And most importantly, a year later, you decided that you wanted to come here, fill this stadium completely sold out, and celebrate that album, 1989. And I was just thinking that maybe the only thing that we should possibly do right now is take a little trip down memory lane throughout the songs of 1989. What do you say? You want to come along? Running
about the moment when that one person that you want to show up for you more than anything in the world shows up at the perfect time. Just like you did tonight, Sydney!
Here we are. See your face, hear my voice in the dark. We're crooked love, in a straight line now. Still running, turn right back around.
I wish you would come back. Wish I never hung up the phone like I did. Wish you knew that I'd never forget you as long as I live. And wish you were right here, right now. It's all good. I wish you would come back. Wish I never hung up the phone like I did. Wish you knew that I'd never forget you as long as I live. Wish you were right here, right now. It's all good. I wish we could go back and remember what we were fighting for. Wish you knew that I listen too much to be back anymore. Wish you were right here, right now. Let me see your hands. You always knew how to push my buttons. You won't be thinking nothing. It's not bad enough. Makes you come right. Stand back wasted. I wish you would. I wish you would. I wish you would. I wish you would.
Reminder how it used to be. How it used to be. Stealing like a ghost, shaking from the rain. She'll open up the door and say I'm insane. Say it's been long since you were too afraid to tell her what you want. That's how it works. That's how you get the girl. Then you say, I want you. Words are full of fear. I would wait forever and ever. Broke your heart, I put it back together. I would wait forever and ever. And that's how it works. It's how you get the girl. And that's how it works. It's how you get the girl. Reminder how it used to be. Yeah. With pictures engraved, kisses on cheek. Tell her how you must have lost your mind. You left her all alone, never told her why.
of a hike one day in Nashville, and we're getting ready to play the Nashville shows. Pick up the phone, and Dad's like, my friend swears he was sitting next to Mick Jagger at lunch yesterday. So I text Mick, and I said, hey, are you in town? I'm playing a show tomorrow. Do you want to come out and sing Satisfaction? And he just writes back, what will I wear?
Oh my God, it's so good.
So cool.
I'm so happy.
Nice to see you.
You too.
Good.
We're so excited. It's like, and he's just sound checking, and we traded off vocals, and we organized the whole thing.
So I'm probably gonna be like watching you a lot, just trying to keep up.
That worked?
Yes.
My band and I are just trying not to pass out.
Amazing. See you later.
Next year.
He shows up for showtime and absolutely shut down Nashville. I've never seen anything like it before.
My friend Mick Jagger is here. I can't get no when I'm driving in my car and some man comes on the radio.
Watching my TV, a man comes on to tell me
I can't get no. Hey, hey, that's what I said. Nashville, give it up for Mick Jagger.
Once Mick Jagger comes out and does a guest appearance, everybody else was like, oh, Mick Jagger did it. Okay, I mean, I'll do it. When I'll have a sound check with a special guest artist, I will meet them on the stage.
How's it going? Good, how are you? So good.
Introduce them to everybody, the band.
Guys, this is Selena. Hi, everybody. Say hey. Hi.
I'd walk the artist along the stage. I'd say, I think, you know, maybe we should go here at this point in the song. Maybe we should do this at this point in the song.
Before you're about to do the hook, like I usually just be like, you know, in Miami, put your hands up. Y'all get them all hype.
And you could do a slap in the face. Cruise's heel, the moment lasts forever. Do you want to do, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
of course.
Thank you.
And we would just decide together what the performance should look like.
Horns up front, you and me up front, everybody's going crazy.
Booty shaking.
I will have decided beforehand if I feel like we should have dancers and choreography for their number or whether it's more of just a me and them kind of thing. And then I'll say, please walk on the stage, Allison Downs, and we'll come up here.
The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. It's the truth in your eyes, saying you never
We can program the bracelets to be absolutely any color. So the first thing that I ask them is, what color do you want the audience to be?
Purpley is always quite nice.
Yeah. The next thing that they decide is, what lift do you want to come up on? There's a front lift, there's a back lift. Do you want to be seated on a bench? Pyro is another option, you know, we provided for any of the guests.
They want to have a big pyro thing happen on somebody like you,
Okay.
on your, either your first or your second solo.
I didn't want them to come and donate their time and their energy to be on my stage and like not have it feel like I cared enough to give them anything that made it feel huge. I just wanted us to go all out.
People like you always want by the love they gave away. And people like me wanna believe you when you say you've changed. The more I think about it now, the less I know. All I know is that you drove us off the road.
We're so lucky. This is going to be crazy. So Wiz is one of the coolest people. He came out to sing See You Again. We're going.
Good.
He shows up at soundcheck, and he was so excited to be there. I remember thinking how cool it was that he was so appreciative to be there.
When you said yes, I just like, my life is made. It's you.
I knew the crowd was going to freak out, so I was so excited. I couldn't wait for them to see that he was there. At the end of our performance, there was a hug that lasted for like 4 years. And I just remember thinking, like, I just don't want this hug to end. We're all like...
Wiz Khalifa, Houston, Texas.
I don't mean to stare, but there's a lot to look at from right here. I was looking at you and I was thinking, I really would love to sing a song just you and me and this guitar and see how loud the singing can possibly get in a stadium full of 76,000 people. What do you think? All right, so I want to teach you an echo part. So when I say you can hear it in the silence, you say silence. And when I say you can feel it on the way home, you say way home. And when I say you can see it with the lights out, you say lights out. Do you want to practice? Let's practice. It's like this. You can hear it in the silence, silence. Ooh, you can feel it on the way home, way home. Ooh, you can see it with the lights out, lights out. Ooh, we're in love, true love. You're in love. Dark room meant just for you. Time moves too fast. You play it back. Buttons on a cold, light-hearted joke. No proof, not much. You saw enough. Small talk, heat drives, coffee at midnight. The light reflects the chain on your neck. He says, look up, your shoulders brush. No one touch, she felt enough. You can hear it in the silence, silence. Ooh, you can feel it on the way home, way home. Ooh, you can see it with the lights out, lights out. Ooh. Cindy. Morning, his place, burnt toast, Sunday, his shirt. He keeps his word, and for once you let go of your fears, your goals. One step, not much that is said. Enough. You kiss on sidewalks, you fight, you talk. One night he breaks, a strange look on his face, pauses, then says, you're my best friend. You knew what it was. He is in love. You can hear it in the silence, silence. Ooh, you can feel it on the way home, way home. Ooh, you can see it with the lights out, lights out. You're in love, true love. You're in love. So it goes, you two are dancing in the snow, round and round. He keeps a picture of you in his office downtown. You understand now why they lost their minds and fought the wars, and why I've spent my whole life trying to put it into words. You can hear it in the silence, silence. Ooh, you can feel it on the way home, way home. Ooh, you can see it with the lights out, lights out. You're in love, true love. You're in love. You can hear it in the silence, silence. You can feel it on the way home, way home. You can see it with the lights out, lights out. You're in love, true love. You're in love.
The fans are the best part of this tour. They're the reason the shows are incredible. And I know those fans out there are going to be just all in. I mean, they've got costumes on, they've made crazy signs, they've wrapped themselves in Christmas lights. There's no discernible age. It's everyone. It just creates the perfect storm. It's cool to be able to take pictures with hundreds of people a night, because getting to go out there on that stage and see how much they're giving from the audience, it's amazing to be able to get to say thank you to them for that.
So, I've been watching you the entire night, and some things that I've noticed. I have noticed that I'm not just seeing people nodding their head to the music politely. I'm seeing people like thrashing around and dancing so wildly as if absolutely no one is watching you. Like no one's around. You're just like in your bedroom, just jamming. I'm also not just seeing people mouth the lyrics. I'm hearing people screaming every single word so loudly. And And let me tell you why that makes me so happy, because that kind of behavior is free and uninhibited and warm, and the way you've treated us is so open and welcoming. You know, these days there are millions of ways for people to tell you how to be, how to act in public, what's cool, what's not, what's beautiful, what's not. And it's really easy to become completely preoccupied by the idea of trying to be cool. But you know what I think is better than being cool is being happy. And you seem really happy tonight, Sydney. You know, when somebody criticizes you or says something behind your back, those words that they said about you, it's like you feel like those words are written all over your face, all over you. And then those words start to become echoes in your own mind. And then there's a real risk that those words could become a part of how you see yourself. The moment that you realize that you are not the opinion of somebody who doesn't know you or care about you, that moment, when you realize that, it's like you're clean.
being inclusive with this entire tour just kind of became the theme. Like, hey, do you want to come up on stage? Hey, do you want to come wave to the crowd? All the effort, reaching out to people I'd never met before, trying to learn someone else's new music, all of it was all worth it when I'd say to the crowd,
All right, I think it's time to unveil, and he's one of the most talented people I know. I can't quite believe I'm about to say this.
They are back in St. Vincent.
and you just look out and you see 60,000 people with this look on their face.
You have to really feel the lyrics. My friend John Legend is here tonight. How does that make you feel?
John Legend happens to be coming to the concert just to watch it. And in my head, I'm like, I know the show starts in 40 minutes, but I really want John Legend to sing.
What would I do without your smart mouth? It's getting hot, so hot. Take off all your clothing. I am getting so hot. I wanna take my clothes off. 'Cause Earl had to die.
I feel like this tour and this album and this phase of my life have been about inclusivity. Doing it on my own, but doing it with friends.
Hey, I'm so happy you guys are here. This is amazing. This is going to be so much fun.
Just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said,
When they're jumping, you will see everyone attacking.
woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, shut up and dance.
By the time Miranda came out, I thought it would look awesome if she came up on the elevator on a throne made out of men. I was half expecting her to be like, I'm not doing that, but she was so down for it. It's incredible how many performers are so gracious with their time. And, you know, it made a lot of people happy.
And when I was young, before I started having any kind of actual knowledge of what love was, I would write songs about love that I had read about. And I read about these two teenagers, these two star-crossed lovers who couldn't be together, who wanted to run away together. And I thought, man, I really wish they had a happier ending. Their names are Romeo and Juliet, and this song's called Love Story.
Taylor and I met on Twitter. Kings of Leon invited her to one of their concerts.
New York. Golden Globes. Victoria's Secret fashion show. Freshman year of high school.
And now we're best friends. Having a good group of girls.
The best thing ever.
Girls are always against each other, but that's not true.
It's okay to be nice.
It's like you're a superhero team.
A typical hang with Taylor.
They're always an adventure.
Definitely involves
snacks, baked goods. Lots of dancing, there's lots of music. Cats.
Cats. Cats. Anywhere that Taylor is,
they're acting up.
They run the house.
I first heard 1989
in her kitchen.
I was so excited.
And I made her play it until she finally said, I don't want to play it anymore.
I could tell immediately it was going to be what it became.
Okay, would you like for me to review?
Yes,
okay.
review.
This is me. I'm singing style. It'll be dark at this point in the set, so it's nighttime, it's very dramatic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 1989 World Tour Catwalk. My friends, Gigi Hadid and Kendall, they walk together. Then, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Martha Hunt and Charlie Kloss. And then you walk this way.
I know that there were people coming to the show like Serena Williams, and I'd say, hey, I'd love for you to come out on stage and say hi to the crowd. They would freak out.
One of your own, Cara Delevingne, coming up, waving a British flag. And we're all at the end there. And then there's gonna be an awesome photo that I'm gonna hang on my wall. Do not fall down the elevator hole.
Little did I know Carly had her phone just videoing everything.
So excited. I've never seen Taylor perform. This is the first time ever.
Ready? Everybody! Hey, are you ready? Here we go.
You are killing it out there.
You got that daydream look in your eye, and I got that red lip classic thing that you like, and when we go crashing down, we come back every time. We never go out of style. We never go out of style.
If an actor or a sports player wanted to come to the show, I'd invite them up on stage because why not?
You killed it, Serena. Wow. What do you think of it, Brad? That was amazing. I was nervous walking down that hill. I know. I was nervous walking. It was steep. It was steep. That was amazing. I don't know how Taylor does that.
She sent me months later this montage she had done, and it was the most amazing thing to see the behind the scenes of what my friends were doing while I was on stage.
That was the first time I'd ever seen Tay perform, and she killed it. She has the whole stadium in the palm of her hand. 65,000 people. It's crazy.
Long drive.
I've been there too a few times. 'Cause you got